Hi, Culture Club. We're back. We're going back to school. You're going back to school. The August Club kit is full of all of our favorite school subjects in very delicious food form. I've got my school schedule and my number 2 pencil, and we're going to dive in to all of the things that make me want to actually put a school uniform back on and not go to detention. Let's start with science class. My worst and least favorite subject, because my brain just doesn't work like that, but what would have helped would have been cheese. You know Taleggio because it is probably one of our stinkiest darlings, but it's also the muse and the reason we developed our Cheese Caves program. Taleggio is a wash-drain cheese from Lombardia, and the reason we love it so much is because of all of its funky, microscopic bacterial growth. It is as funky and as creamy as it is because of Brevicum linens, or B linens for short. And the way we get those to really thrive is to put them in our scientific cheese caves. By putting them in there, our Afi News Antonia and her team will wipe these Taleggio down with a saltwater brine that invites those B linens onto the surface of the Taleggio to revive its rind, to make it healthier, stinkier, more supple, more palatable, more creamy, more delicious. And it's here for you to enjoy. We are on the very tail end of our Cheese Caves week, and we've been celebrating this through so many different specials from all of our locations all week. And if you tried them, you know exactly how delicious it is. But if you're gonna try it at home, put it in a grilled cheese, put it in a macaroni and cheese, melt it into your polenta, melt it into your risotto. Maybe just eat it plain with your hands. You're going to smell like Taleggio because those B linens are strong little buggers, and they're going to survive forever because they've been revived in the cave. So please enjoy your Taleggio. This is probably the most time-sensitive item you have in your kit this time. So if you're gonna go in order of need to eat first, she's the one. But let's move on to English class. I loved English. I was good at it. I am a mouthy broad. I know how to use my words, and this is exactly the same thing. Stilton is a recipe from England that dates back to about the 1720s. So it's as old as Gulliver's Travels. So while you are reading your classic English and British lit, this is the thing to pair with it, along with a glass of port or sherry, because we are respectable British wannabes. But I love that about us. Stilton is one of the classic blues. This is one of the most dry, crumbly, and savory blues that I will offer to people who are maybe a little bit blue averse. Because the blue veins are not super persistent through the entire cheese, you get a lot of still really delicious, really decadent, really umami cheese flavor that is highlighted by that Penicillium roquefort 14, but not the primary flavor. So trim this rind, pair with some port or sherry, or put it on a steak or a burger because you deserve that. And if summer's ending, we should have more barbecues until we can barbecue no more, and that's how I think you should do it. A+ in English. Moving on to history with mortadella. I'd like you to meet one of the oldest traditions in the book. Mortadella has a very decadent, very lauded history in Italy. It is made with cubes of fat back through the entire thing and is fully cooked. And you'll see bits of black pepper and pistachio in it, and it is decadent and wonderful and really luxurious. But as history goes, things change over time, and the Americans took it and we made bologna, and I hate us for that. We did a terrible job. We made it greasy and slimy, and we over emulsified the meat and then overcooked it so that the fat creates this weird coating of like almost beeswaxy texture on the inside of your mouth. And if you too are traumatized by bologna, we're here to help you. Mortadella will fix it. This is what bologna wanted to be and what it devolved from. I don't want to call that an evolution. We're gonna call it a de-evolution because this is far superior. So let's get back to our roots, celebrate the history of a really delicious but also very decadent piece of Italian history. If I were you and I had mortadella in my kit, I would probably just eat it straight out of the box because I have no chill when it comes to really delicious meats. But if you want to do something fun with it, these fry up really well, and you can have your own fried mortadella sandwich, and it's a great way to do it. Or you can unroll those pieces of mortadella, stuff them with some seasoned greens, and then call it a somewhat healthy snack. And that's what I want for lunch between my 3rd and 4th periods. That's how I want to do it. Now, let's go to math class. You need to meet Espinalaire's premium sardines. These are the premium line from All Things Espinal, which has been in the business of tinning their own fish for a very long time. But even before that, back in the 1800s, they had a taverna where they served other people's tinned seafood, got so into it that they started doing their own, and they're doing a killer job. So their premium line means that all of the fish or bivalves or any other seafood that were caught had to be caught and canned within 24 hours. So this is the premier line, the freshest you can get. But it's in math class because we need to talk about the gauge. So if we look at these or any other type of fish from a lot of these conservice brands, you'll notice these little numbers on the sides of the can. For the sardines, it's 20 to 25. That's what we call the gauge. The gauge means you're gonna get 20 to 25 sardines in one of these containers. So you know from taking our tinned seafood classes, which I hope you have, if I can get this open, let's give it a try, that these are prized for being smaller. Baby sardines are the superior choice. We want these as small as possible, which is the opposite of bivalves. With bivalves, we want them to be as large as possible. Those are the most luxurious. But here, we want the littlest babies. So having 20 to 25 in there means that you're getting the freshest and most delicate and most rich and silky sardine possible. So you don't have to do any math. We did it for you, much easier than algebra. These are your teeny tiny sardines. Now, the second half of the day gets a lot more sweet and delicious. So let's say we're done with lunch and we're going to health class. This is a Culture Club exclusive. So this is really for you guys only. This is the very, very last of this Nano lot from Naive. Naive is based in Lithuania and made by our very best pal, Domantas. Hi, Domantas, we miss you. This is the Nano lot line. Nano lots are super, super small, lots of beans that other larger chocolate makers won't pick up because it's not enough to get into multiple stores or keep for the long term. But Domantas wanted to still celebrate them and the really delicious cacao within those opportunities. So we made the Nano line. These are kind of here today, gone tomorrow, lots of beans. You may never, ever, ever see this again. So cherish it, enjoy it. This one is Hacienda Betulia, which is from Colombia. It is super, super rich, but also really elegant, really ethereal. It goes on this flavor journey like bars that I haven't had in years. When we see a lot of craft chocolate today, there's one really bold, brash flavor right at the front that lasts forever. This one takes you on an adventure. And I really love that about this. So please enjoy this one. This is the thing to cherish and hold on to as long as you can because you may never see it again. So cheers to you guys for being part of our club. That is part of what we would call health class because while dark chocolate is said to be healthier for you than milk, it actually is really good for you. It improves brain function, which I need all the time. It's full of antioxidants. It's got iron and magnesium and all of these things that are incredibly good for you. So you should be eating more chocolate and not apologizing for it. So if anybody gives you a hard time, slap them or bring them to me and I'll slap them for you so you don't have to be the bad guy. On to social studies with our dearest doll, Louisa. Louisa Abrams' family is some of the best humans in the entire world, but Louisa and her family are dedicated to only sourcing cacao from the Amazon and only wild foraged cacao. Nothing is intentionally planted, nothing is farmed. Louisa and her family traveled into the Amazon through the Yacara River to get to this cacao in particular, and it is a toasty, caramelized, almost buttermilky experience that I can't get enough of, which is why it's here. I got to pick. Best day ever. This one is special to me because it was the first bar that I fell in love with wild terroir. It meant a lot to me and my growth as a person, but we want Louisa to feel supported by us and by all of our friends. And it's important that she feels our love and our support because she's helping to change the chocolate industry. People are exploited throughout the industry when we start to talk about commercialized or industrial chocolate, and she is the opposite of that. So we're helping an entire community, we're helping an entire family. It is part of what makes us do what we want to do and do it happily. So please enjoy your last chocolate, and your last class in this area is art because of what's on this bar. Manoa is our Hawaiian cacao brand. Everything Manoa does celebrates the culture and tradition of Hawaii, and this is no exception. This is a dark milk chocolate with freeze-dried powdered passion fruit sprinkled in, so you get that very tart, acidic, but tropical flavor that we're always constantly seeking out, especially as in a landlocked state. We're never gonna see a passion fruit tree here, so you get to have it in this way. All of the art on this line of bars is made by Hawaiian artists. This one's done by Shar. She is a boss. She is also the owner of Punky Aloha in Oahu. So if you're in Oahu, go visit her. But if you're back to school and you're missing your vacation, here's a great way to have a little bit of a memory. Now, our last class is U.S. history, and that's where the Somm cane cordials come into play. Somm was started by Andy Ricker, who you probably know from the Pok Pok restaurants in Portland. He is a celebrated, award-winning chef, and we are just so lucky he did what he did, because this is the result of all of that you can now take home. This is what we would call a cane cordial, or in the vein of a shrub, where there is vinegar used to preserve fruit flavors. And it's part of the U.S. colonial culture of how we would preserve fruit before refrigeration. We would take fresh fruit, preserve it beneath vinegar, and let all of those flavors coax out so that we have something that's called a shrub. Those were used for cocktails, for preservation, to enjoy fruit after the harvest is done. This started to die out after the introduction of refrigeration, but it is such a special tradition to U.S. history that it's actually on the Ark of Taste by the Slow Food Organization. So you are promoting history, promoting tradition, and having a really, really delicious time with this when you open it up. So add it to your favorite cocktails. I love it with soda water and your spirit of choice. This one in particular, I really, really love with gin. You can do it just with soda. You can use it in cooking. I love these as a base for salad dressings or marinades, or even as a little touch to add some flavor to ceviche. So keep it nearby. You're gonna find a million ways to use it. It's not just for cocktails, it's not just for cooking. It can be a little bit of everything. But it should probably be on your counter, because you're going to want to reach for it far more often than you think. So now that class is done, we have to move on to extra credit. We sent you one little extra because you needed something to tie all this together, and please meet the cacio e pepe torelli. Torelli are a traditional treat from Puglia, which is the heel of the boot. And normally you'd see these as an olive oil or fennel seed flavor, but this one gets cheese and black pepper. I am addicted to them. I just think you needed them because I want these around forever, and if we keep eating and loving them, I get to have them for the rest of time, even after I graduate. So pair these with your cheeses and meats, have them before your chocolates, keep them in your desk for when you get hangry between classes. But my friends, that's your Culture Club kit for this season. I hope you all get straight A's. I will not be. I'll be in detention. You can find me there, and I'll catch you on the flip side. We love you a lot.